BlitzWolf's new flagship projector has arrived. Dolby Vision certification, Widevine L1 certification, 1400 ANSI lumens, and Android TV. All of this is offered for under 80,000 forints. Let me show you. Stay with me. Well, I've already mentioned the most important parts of the specifications, but we'll come back to this later. But first, let's take a look at the device from the outside and check out the controls. After that, we'll go over the specifications, then the software, and finally my experiences. There will be all kinds of measurement results, and I'll also tell you what it was like to use this device. So stay with me until the end and check it out. Let's start with the exterior. The BW-V11 is a relatively large projector. It's basically the size of an old traditional projector. It weighs almost 4 kilos, so you really get the sense that there's substance to it. The plastics used are very good, the build quality is excellent, so in terms of appearance, feel, and first impression, I'd say this is going to be a really great projector. The top and bottom are white, while the front and back are grey. The front is glossy grey, the back is matte grey. The top cover is matte white at the front, and glossy white at the back. There's a kind of fine striation in it, which gives the device an elegant look. This UFO shape is a bit sci-fi. Honestly, this projector could have easily been a prop in some sci-fi movie, but it still manages to look somewhat elegant with its glossy and plastic white finish, as well as the recessed, embedded little BlitzWolf handle here at the back. Apart from the projector itself, there isn't much else of interest, since on the front panel we find 2 cameras, one on each side. These are for the automatic functions. There are also 2 speaker grills, each with a 10-watt speaker. In the center you'll find the lens. There's no cap, but it sits deep inside so it won't get damaged. It will need to be dusted from time to time. The back panel isn't very interesting either, as it features a USB port, an HDMI 2.0 port, and a headphone output. Here is the only button on the device, which is the power on-off button. It uses a shaver cable connector, so the power supply is built into the unit. And here on both sides there are 2 grills where the warm air can escape, and behind them is the heat sink of the heat pipe system, the heat dissipator. This is very important, and is part of the heat dissipation system. The reason it has a heat pipe system inside is because the machine features a sealed projection system, so no dust can get in there, and chances are you'll never need to clean it. And with that, we've already started to touch a bit on the specifications. As I mentioned, the device has some very interesting features because in addition to HDR support, we also get Dolby Vision support. Dolby Vision support differs from HDR in that with HDR, the device uses a fixed color profile during projection. Dolby Vision, on the other hand, according to its description, does not use a fixed profile, but essentially optimizes the image and colors frame by frame. So it's a more dynamic solution, whereas HDR is a bit more static. Obviously, Dolby Vision is better thanks to its dynamic approach. The luminous flux is 1100 ANSI, which puts this device more in the high-end category. Currently, around 1100 to 1200 is about the maximum for LCD projectors. It's important to note that it has Android TV, and also important that the Android TV comes with Widevine L1 certification, meaning we can watch streaming content in full HD in high resolution. This is especially crucial for Netflix because otherwise we would only get SD quality there. Well, yes, we've now covered the most important things. And now, let's talk a bit about the software, because that's quite an interesting topic. As I mentioned, this device has Android TV, but when I turned it on, it didn't boot into Android TV, but instead into a really cheap, basic interface with some old version of Android. I couldn't even find the Play Store on it, so I had to dig it out from among the pre-installed apps. I had to launch it from there. It started up, there was no problem with that, but in the Play Store I couldn't find Disney+, YouTube, or Netflix. I simply didn't know what to do with it or where to start. I couldn't understand why there were dedicated buttons for streaming apps on the remote, if you can't even install them. I checked in Kinon to see if there was an update for the projector. Volt! I downloaded it, the update ran, it started up, and lo and behold, Android TV appeared. And under Android TV there was Netflix, there was Disney+, there was everything I needed. Hallelujah, it finally works. I was really happy. I turned off the device, and the next day when I turned it back on, the cheap basic Android came up again. So that's where I made a mistake in this whole thing. I should have read about this. I should have looked it up, and then I would have realized that from Android, from this cheap basic Android, You have to launch Android TV like an app. This is because there are two pieces of hardware inside the device. We have a projection system, and we have two pieces of hardware. One piece of hardware runs that old Android, and the other hardware runs the Android TV. Basically, it's as if it were built in. It's like an Android stick with Android TV is built into the device. This is also evident from the fact that when I tested a 4K video to see if the device could downscale it, playback stuttered when I started it on the simpler interface, whereas when I launched it on the Android TV, everything ran completely smoothly. So this also shows that in reality, we have a single projection system inside the device, and there are two pieces of hardware in it, which I wouldn't say is bad. Let's just say it's a rather strange solution. The main thing really is that it works. So you get Android TV and you also get Widevine L1 certification. Everything works on it. It's just that when you turn it on, you have to launch one more app for Android TV to appear. Wow, we just quickly went through everything. So we've looked at the exterior, the specifications, the software, everything's covered. Now comes the experience. The first thing I noticed is related to the cooling, because this is what I like the least. I find this projector to be relatively loud. According to measurements, it's about 42 decibels, which normally wouldn't be much, but the sound it makes is still a bit too loud, too high-pitched. It bothers me. It could have been a bit quieter than this. What is really good about it, though, is the sound system. In other words, the two 10-watt speakers that are built in. It has bass, it has dynamics. It's really great for action movies. Honestly, it's especially good. The sound can easily fill a medium-sized room. If you don't have an external sound system, you can stick with this one. And I think you'll be satisfied with it. Another plus is that it has enough volume to completely drown out the sound of the cooling fan while watching a movie. So the noise from the cooling system will mostly only bother you until the movie starts, because after that you won't hear it at all. I also recorded a short demo of the sound, so have a listen. I recorded it with an external microphone, but I still hope it conveys some of the experience the device can provide.
In the world of magic, everything that disappears reappears. It is very good to be back.
Come up, you're gonna be our helper.
Okay, disappear in 3, 2, 1. Okay, Daniel Atlas in the house. Who wants to see a magic trick?
Who wants to see the magic? Okay, so image quality is left for the end, and here I have nothing bad to report either. The thing is, I watched movies with it, I watched HDR demos, I watched Dolby Vision demos, and I have to say that for the premium BlitzWolf screen I tested earlier this week, I simply couldn't have found a better test subject than the BW-V11. Because the colors, the dynamics, the depth, the contrast, the blacks of this projector are simply wonderful. At least among LCD projectors, I definitely consider the quality this projector delivers in terms of image quality to be outstanding. However, I don't think it actually reaches the claimed 1000x100 ANSI. I would say that it is more like 950,000, which is what actually exists. I can't measure it, so this is just based on my experience and what my eyes tell me. I don't think it's 1100 ANSI, but even 950 or 1000 ANSI isn't bad at all. In fact, that's still considered a high-end value. With this level of brightness, HDR really starts to make sense, and probably Dolby Vision as well, because the colors simply pour off the screen. There was a demo where the image looked like a huge, colorful painting on my wall with a 2.5 meter diagonal, except this painting was moving. I really can't describe it any other way. You have to sit down in front of it, and when you do, it simply nails you to the couch. You just can't get up. Because you'll see colors, abstract shapes, and have an Akama experience that I haven't seen from any other LCD projector before. At least in this price range, because as I mentioned, this projector costs about 70,000 forints, which is an insanely good price, since a similar projector from a competing brand would cost somewhere between 100 and 130,000 forints. So if you're lucky, and let's say you look at the lower end of the price range, you still get the BW-V11 for about 30,000 forints less. If you're not so lucky, then you get it for 60,000 forints less. And for a projector in this price range, that's already a really significant difference. So what I can tell you is that if you want to buy a big projector like this, and you have about 70,000 forints to spend, then get the BW-V11, because I don't think you'll be disappointed with it. You'll find the link to buy it below the video on YouTube. The coupon code will also be there, which you can use to get this price. If you like the video, then subscribe, because only about 10% of my viewers are subscribed, and I would really like it if even more of you subscribed, so go ahead and subscribe. Choose another review from the 2 videos appearing next to me, watch those as well, and if you'd like to buy a projector like this, you can purchase it by clicking on the image appearing next to me. If you click on it, as I mentioned, the coupon code will be in the video description. I'll be back tomorrow with another projector review, so make sure to come back. Once again, don't forget to subscribe. And for tomorrow, be good and take care of yourselves. Bye!